from Cholla Bay. Welcome. Hey, Jeff. Hey, Charlotte.
Alrighty, so it is approaching 6 o'clock. So to be considerate of everyone's time, thank you so much for joining us this evening. Jerry, our executive director, is going to be taking this one away. He is live from Cholla Bay, Mexico, and he's at Xochitl's Cafe, and they are going to teach us and show us how to make homemade chile rellenos and tortillas. Alrighty, go ahead, Jerry, take it away.
Hey, you guys, welcome to Cholla Bay, Mexico, specifically right here at Xochitl's restaurant, also known as Sally's. I'm going to get my map so you can see where we're at. We are right here. So Rocky Point is kind of like right down over in here. And this is about 65 miles south of the Arizona border is where we're at. And this whole section here is considered Cholla Bay. So Xochitl's has been around since,
Okay.
We're going both. So Xochitl's has been around for 26 years. And Sally, she was the owner. And she came here actually to Cholla Bay to have a really good cup of coffee and to serve individuals. And it's been running ever since then. And unfortunately, last year, Sally passed suddenly. But this restaurant is a staple to our community, and the staff, Lupe and Trini, and I can't see where we're at. But they're right here. Lupe and Trini is right here, and Tato, she's outside. So they have not missed a beat, and this is Chef Lupe. She does all the wonderful food here at Xochitl's, and if you're down in this neck of the woods, we would love it if you could come and enjoy the food here. But today, we're going to be showing you how to make their famous chile rellenos. Thanks, Lupe. And they're going to also show you how to make the tortillas. So it's really kind of cool. So for those of you that know me, I like to tell a lot of jokes. So I brought some jokes today. And since this is like a Mexican theme, these are kind of like Mexican food jokes. So to get it started, what's a robot's favorite Mexican food? Any guess? Silicon carne. Yeah. I know. They do get better, so don't get too excited. But what do you call a baby burrito? What? I always get them screwed up too. That's the other thing I do. What do you call a baby donkey? A baby burrito.
Funny.
Okay, so with that now, I'm going to turn it over to Lupe, and she's going to walk us through how we're going to make these wonderful chile rellenos, and we're going to try lingual. So I'm going to be talking in English while she's preparing the food, and then she's going to be talking in Spanish because we have a lot of brand new individuals that are Spanish speaking only that have joined us tonight. So we also have individuals online that are visually impaired, so try to be as descriptive as possible so you can kind of understand what we're explaining. So chile rellenos we have, these are the chilies that we have. These are California green chilies. They're about 7 inches long, and they're tubular shaped in a kind of like a bright green. And you can get these in all different flavors from mild to very hot. I actually like them very hot. So that's what we're going to be doing today, is making the chile rellenos. So you say,
A Sunday?
take it over. Did you have dinner?
Yeah.
There he is right there. So he's at Jeff's house.
Aren't those called poblano peppers? Is that correct?
Did you say poblanos? They're called chili peppers.
They are called chili peppers, but I think that's the proper name of those, but I don't know.
Those are Anaheim chilies.
Okay, that's what I
Anaheim
thought.
chili. Can you guys see us?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
I think we have a weak internet connection. Oh, so we're gonna go ahead and,
Necesitan poncharlos. They need a punch because they maybe have explosion.
so what we're doing is we're just poking a hole in the tops of them, so when we take the skins off or cook them to take the skins off, they don't explode. So it's like to remove the air, so it can escape on the inside when we do that. So what she's doing is she's piercing the top right below the stem with a fork on the top. So let's go ahead, Renal.
Oh, yeah. Hi,
So
Grandpa.
we're working on 2 screens here. One is kind of permanent on the prep table, and then we've got another one over here that she's actually going to show. So what she's doing now is she's putting them in hot oil, which is lard, and Sarah's going to be posting a recipe online where you can see this. So right now what she's doing is she's putting them in the hot lard, and this is going to remove the skins off the peppers. So you can see she's doing it in a shallow pan. The lard is probably about an inch thick in the pan. And you want to cook these until they're like a toasted brown. What do you want to turn? Say some Spanish.
Necesita estar la manteca muy caliente para poder que se quite la piel y voltearlo solamente 2 veces.
So we're going to be cooking on both sides. And then when they're nice and toasty, we're going to be putting them in water to cool them down, a cold water bath.
Y aquí se van a pasar a agua helada.
Right. So you can see right there, you want to be very careful because the grease splatters, you know, from the moisture that's inside the chili.
Is it deal?
So when the side is white, we'll be turning them over to cook on the other side. And what this process is what the hot lard is doing is removing, it's cooking the outside, which is the skin. And then we're able to remove the skin very easily after it's blanched in this hot oil. So you can see how the chili is kind of like a toasted, it's kind of like a white or a, you know, toasty brown. You don't want it too dark to overcook it because all you want to do is to loosen that outer skin, but yet have the chili firm, the meat of the chili firm. It smells delicious already. So we use here at Xochitl, how many chili rellenos? So in a week here at Xochitl, they'll use about 300 chili rellenos. So you can see there's a lot of prep work that goes into this. And now she's dipping them in the water, taking them out of the oil, putting them in a cold water bath to cool them off. When you put them in the cold water bath, it allows it to be much easier to remove the skin.
dejamos reposar unos minutos.
So put them in the water bath for about 4 to 5 minutes, just until they're cool.
Because I have a very, very cold water in order.
With ice cubes, right?
Okay.
And then now the skin, she's peeling it right off the chili. It slips right off. So a lot of people, you know, they'll roast the chilies on an open or on a like a charcoal fire or a gas fire, charcoal grill. But actually doing it this way, it ends up being much easier to remove the skin without really cooking the meat of the chili. So it's a very easy way to do that. Some people say, well, do you have to use lard? No, you don't. You can use a canola oil, vegetable oil, but really there's a lot of flavor that comes from lard. And, you know, it's Mexican tradition to actually use lard pretty much in all of their dishes down there. So you can see how the chilies over here. No, the chilies that she has skinned already. How whole they are and how intact they are once the skin is off. So it's my luck when I make these on the grill, you know, my chili peppers always, I know, is always, sí, mucho bailar, yay!
It's for the taste, for the flavor.
Exactly, exactly. So the more you dance, Lupe says, the better flavor they are. So there's a lot of dancing here, so that's why they taste so good.
They more dancing, the better they are, what he said.
So maybe for the holidays, we'll be taking orders for Christmas gifts
Hey,
of a
Joseph,
dozen or 2 dozen, possibly. So I'll be talking to Lupe about that later. So it's kind of like pies in the United States where you get those for the holidays. Well, down here, maybe you want to order a dozen tamales or a dozen chile rellenos.
Who's gonna make the tamales?
Who makes tamales? Lupe.
Okay, good.
Lupe's tamales.
There you go.
Okay.
Thank you. Ginger.
So you can see it's a very easy process once you kind of get the hang of it, but it is very simple. The most important thing is to be dipping it in the cold water, you know, after they're done, because that immediately stops the cooking process, but then it's easy for you to handle to take the skin off on the chilies.
So now I have to rellenar. I need a lot.
Okay.
Jerry's trying his hand, removing the skin off of one of the chilies. Trying to help out.
Okay, vamos a remover las semillas.
So we're going to remove the seeds. We're just going to make a little slit on the one end. And you want to remove the seeds. You know, put your finger inside and then swish it around, and then you want to remove the seeds.
Cheese.
Now we're stuffing it with the cheese that we use down here is Mennonite. It's Mennonite cheese.
They're stuffing them, Jeff.
But and chopped onions as well, and all that's on the recipe. The you can get Mennonite in the United States. You can also use jack cheese, or you can spice it up and use jalapeno pepper jack or white cheddar. Makes really good. Or Monterey Jack cheese is good as well. One of the big things here at Xochitl is they use the Mennonite cheese on all of their dishes. And everybody always asks, well, you know what makes it so good? It's really the flavor. Part of it is the flavor of that cheese. Because people think, oh, white cheese is mozzarella, and it's not at all. It's cow's milk, right? Yeah. Yeah, from cow's milk cheese.
We all get a sample after that?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
We'll show you them. We're going to be doing samples virtually tonight. So what Lupe's doing is the shredded cheese, she's taking it and then she's taking
Dress?
about probably a quarter of a cup, less than a quarter of a cup. And then she's squeezing it so it's like a little tube. And then she squeezes it and then she puts it inside that slit inside the chili. So by squeezing it makes it much easier to stuff it than if she did. And then she'll put some onions in there and then a little bit more cheese.
Extra cheese for me, please.
Extra cheese.
Sarah's laughing. Sarah.
So are these chilies hot?
Sometimes it's for season. Some season, all the chiles come hot.
So are we in the season where they're hot?
Ahora están saliendo chilosos.
Some of them are hot. So some-
Mhm.
I like them really hot.
Mhm.
So it's like, you know, in the United States, we're able to get hatch green chilies, you know, in the grocery stores. And those are from New Mexico and you can buy the mild, the mediums, you know, hot and super hot. Down here, the hatch chilies don't make it down here, but the temperature of the chili really kind of depends upon the season. And we're going into that season right now where they tend to be hotter. It's kind of like from the produce markets down here, you get what you know, they don't offer all the different varieties
Okay, ahora
of the
vamos.
heat. So what we're going to be doing now
Yeah.
is making the eggs.
So I wonder,
So-
is Jerry Ketelhut, is he related to Sally?
No, I'm not. We've been
You know, the guy
friends for
that tried to
100 years.
Jerry, that tried to take over a restaurant.
Vamos a usar 8
He's doing, yeah.
You use
So
it.
we're going to use 8 eggs
Separate.
and we're going to separate the yolks and the whites. So this is really an important step to get a really fluffy chile relleno. So we separate the yolks and the whites, and then we're going to be beating the whites to a very stiff peak. And then we'll be incorporating the egg yolks one at a time back into the egg whites. Wait.
Jerry,
What do you call a kitten wrapped in a tortilla? A porrito. Porrito. Purry kitten. Porrito.
Jerry, I think
Jerry,
Yeah.
it's Debbie. Hi.
Hey, Deb.
So how come the yolk is separated from the whites and the whites are whipped and then you put it back? So why not just whip it together? What would be the difference?
Excellent question. In order to get the frothing of the yolk, the frothing of the white, the yolk has to be separated out. Otherwise, you're not able to incorporate air into it.
Right, kind of makes a
With
meringue.
the-
That's how you make meringue.
Yeah, exactly. It's like making a meringue. So if you kept the yolks and the whites together, it's like making scrambled eggs. But
Oh,
that's
yeah.
not what we want to end up with. We want to end up with a frothy seafoam textured meringue, actually.
I add the salt.
So we're adding 1 tablespoon, how much salt? 1 tablespoon of salt to the egg whites, and now we're going to beat them to a stiff peak.
One tablespoon? Jerry.
Yeah. Whip it. Whip it good.
Wow.
that's an arm workout.
You
Nice.
can't hear it though. I don't know why.
That's fun here at Xochitl.
Is it 1 tablespoon of salt?
Yes, it is 1 tablespoon of salt.
Thank you.
It's very important that the beets are really stiff. And what you can do, what she's doing is lifting the beater up to see what the beet is like. Another way to do it is you can tilt the bowl, and if the meringue stays in the bowl, then that's the correct texture.
The better view.
That's bad.
Did you guys have some tequila? What's going on?
Must be.
Where's Lori? There's Jerry.
It's a little bit muffled. The sound is, if you could keep the camera still.
Jerry's got the same thing he's worn the last couple days.
I wonder if they rehearsed that earlier today. The dancing. He needs Dancing with the Stars.
Okay, now we're gonna put the egg yolks in one at a time and then continue to beat them.
This is the famous
So that
chili
was really quick. 1,
Relleno.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
I don't know. After watching it.
Yeah, uno, dos, tres, cuatro, cinco, seis.
I can't even hear them.
So on your recipe, it says that you can roll your chilies in flour, but actually Lupe is putting the flour in the meringue today.
I already added 2 tablespoons, but I didn't put it on my roll.
So she's added 4 heaping tablespoons of flour. And she's really looking for that consistency of a kind of like a thick, foamy batter.
Like what?
Jerry, can you repeat that whenever she stops mixing?
Thank you.
Let's see that.
So then started with 4 tablespoons of flour, and we actually ended up with 7. So this is the consistency. So it's kind of like a thick cake batter, but very airy. So sometimes you may need to add only, 5 or 6, but today it was 7. And all that's based upon how firm the whites were to begin with, the temperature, the eggs and so forth. But it's all going to be good.
Now, let's make the chilies.
So now what she's going to do is take her stuffed chilies, and she's actually going to dip it into the egg batter. And then the lard that was used to blanch the chilies in, she's now frying them in that same lard. So she put the chili in the pan, and then she's taking a spatula and kind of putting some of the oil on top of it. Maybe what? So what we want to do is to make them brown, a light brown on both sides, and then after that they'll be done.
I guess they don't use a deep fryer, they just use it.
See how fluffy they are? That's because of the Macarena song that we were singing and dancing to. You want the lard very hot when you're doing this. You can see they're starting to turn a golden brown.
How hot is very hot?
So we have like 6 minutes.
I don't think they can hear.
So Trini is going to start the Ranchero Sauce. So we're adding the tomatoes, the vegetables, the celery. So we have celery, we have onions, and we have California chilies diced up, using the food processor. So now we're adding about probably 2 cups of water.
Actually, this is the first time, I've heard talk.
And we're putting that, now that sauce pot with those vegetables on the stove. In your recipe, it calls for jalapenos and it actually calls for garlic. Really this sauce, it depends how you want to make it. But once you have the base down, you can play with the ingredients. But what she's making today is what's actually served here at the restaurant.
That hard to make.
I actually prefer my chile rellenos with their chile colorado sauce instead of the ranchero sauce.
It's a big process to cover, you know how to cook.
I like the green sauce.
The spice was what, the tomato? So what this is a like a bouillon. It's a powdered tomato, but again, you can use. There's a bouillon that you can buy. It's by North Swiss. It's tomato and chicken mixed. So if you want to cut the flavor with some chicken, you can use that as well. So, but this is just the tomato consommé added to that ranchero sauce. Oh yeah. So we have 7 chilies to split.
Please come home.
6, 7.
Hey. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna start the tortillas now while Lupe's making the sauce. How many tortillas do we go through in a week?
20 kilos.
So docenas.
Docenas. 80 maybe.
Lori's doing the camera. That's what
So we go through about 16 dozen tortillas a week.
Wow, wow, wow.
16 dozen. Yeah.
That's only in 4 days.
60 dozen. That's a lot of tortillas. A lot of muffin making.
So does anybody know what the chile relleno means in English?
No.
Stuffed chili.
What?
Stuffed chili.
Stuffed chili.
They actually originated in the city of Puebla, down in central Mexico. And back in the day, they used to stuff them with minced meat, all types of things, and again, still coated with egg. So we have 1 kilo of flour.
Water.
In Mexico, this is the best flour.
Where do you get this at?
This makes more soft or
So this harina de trigo, this is the best flour in Mexico to be using. Muy bueno. And now we're adding salt. Adding 1 tablespoon of salt to the flour.
Yes.
So we're going to add another 1/2 tablespoon of salt. So 1.5 tablespoons of salt to the flour in this bowl. So 200 grams. So we're adding 200 grams of lard, which
I thought it was done.
I don't know my metrics well enough to convert that, but
Well, they're making chicken.
300 grams is 3/4 of a pound. So maybe it's probably around a 1/2 pound of lard.
They're making flour. Are they?
So she put it in the bowl with the flour. Now she's mixing it with her hands to like pea-size granulars to mix it very well with the salt and flour. And then once that's mixed, we're going to be adding the water.
Yeah, okay. The water's
So
gotta
the
be
water, this is an important step. Half the water is cold and the other half the water was boiling hot. How much water total? Right, it's approximately, so we've got about 2 cups of water in there right now. So the boiling water was added to the regular temperature water, and then she's adding that out of the pitcher into the bowl with the flour. So again, this is kind of like by trial, just to make sure it's the right consistency. But what you want to end up with is like a kind of like a Play-Doh type of texture, working well together.
Yep, it does.
Jerry, when they serve this in the restaurants, how many chili rellenos do you get on your plate?
The order of chile rellenos, dos or uno? Yeah, but they get 1 chile relleno with rice and beans for $7.50.
Okay.
And it fills you up. Muy delicioso.
That's pretty good.
Hey, Joseph.
Better than Pope.
So she's kneading it now, folding it, back and forth to incorporate all the ingredients.
Idea.
Hey, Joseph.
There you go.
Hi, Joseph, it's your grandpa.
Lupe handmade all of these aprons today.
Nice.
And Trini stitched them with the little pictures of the girl on it. So now we're gonna break them off into balls. These are bigger than a golf ball. They're more like probably not the size of a tennis ball. Smaller than a baseball. So are these más grandes tortillas? These are like burrito size.
This is burrito size.
So the size that we're making now are the burrito size. So these are the grande tortillas.
Grande tortilla.
So for the small ones, is it half this size? So if we wanted like a regular, tortilla the size of a dinner plate, that would be half the size of this.
Okay, now.
See the technique where she's squeezing off the corner, kind of balling it.
Melinda. Hey, Melinda.
Hi. Hi.
Yeah. Oh, there you are. Hey. There's Lydia.
Hi.
Hi, guys.
Hi.
Say now, your grandpa.
Hi, Grandpa.
Hi. Where did they go?
Okay, now we're making the actual tortillas. She's pounding them.
You're so savvy.
Marianne.
And I had to put in a new motor in the router. Okay, now.
So what she's doing now is she's kind of flattening them out, and then we're going to cover them with plastic for 5 or 10 or for about 10 minutes. And what that does, it allows the dough to rest to create that the gluten inside. So it's.
I might even have Really? Oh, yeah. Okay. Just make sure your soy.
Teo's muy rápido though with her tortillas.
I will show you how.
Her favorite song is I am a Rancho Grande. So when she sings that song, she produces twice as many tortillas quickly. Now this is the last one. We're going to cover it up and set it aside.
And you can taste it. You may not like the moringa at all, which is fine. Moringa is this. The strongest moringa. That's fine. Jay. Oh, equals greens. And I don't use it. I'm afraid of using this. It might bubble.
Now they sat for 10 minutes. We're ready to make our tortillas. Did you guys notice that was a red bowl and now we're on a blue bowl? So we were prepared and made them in advance so they're ready to go.
Oh, you're like Martha Stewart.
Now this is Trini. She's going to be making the tortillas. She starts out rolling them with a kind of like a rolling pin down here. So it's really like a PVC pipe that's very handy. You like flip it up? Pizza? Oi! 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 Pizza, 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 pizza. Tortilla. See how she's stretching it?
Mucho grande.
It's really working that gluten on the inside. Now we are going to cook them on the flat top grill.
And is this one?
Yeah.
And this is they don't stay on there very long. So
Holiday.
they'll kind of bubble up a little bit. So this is about, I would say it's probably about a 14-inch diameter round tortilla. That's how big.
Do mine first. You can see if you like it, or if you just want to make plain oatmeal. But I also think I better.
How old are the girls when they learn how to make tortillas?
What was the question?
How old are the girls? when they
Lupe
learn to
started
make
making tortillas when she was 3.
3.
And Teo, she was about 4, I think, and Trini
Oh my
was
God.
probably 4 as well.
Do the men make them as well?
Me, 15 years old. When I
They must be
started.
doing anything.
I don't know, because I hear somebody, it seems like with it, but I don't know, I don't hear her.
But then there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 people here in the kitchen. And Trini, she's actually making the tortillas. We have Teo cooking the tortillas. Our camera lady is Lori. And then Chef Lupe is telling us all what to do.
Jerry,
Now you can see the cooked tortillas. We're
do
cooking them for probably about a minute.
Jerry, do the men make the tortillas as well?
Do the men make the tortillas? The men, no, they drink margaritas mainly. Cervezas. Do the men make tortillas? No. Lupe's face says no. Right? What do they make? What does your husband make? Nothing. Oh, yeah. They do the laundry, Lupe says. I guess that's a good trade-off.
Cheaper.
Yeah.
Just soft.
Soft enough.
So how's our sauce doing?
Oh, I put in there, so we already do. So here's what I put in.
Jerry,
Yes.
This is April.
Hi, April.
Hi. If somebody has a gluten allergy and can't use flour, what is the substitute?
Do we have gluten free?
I need to take these.
Yeah, in Mexico, we don't have that down here. But could they just dip the without the flour and be more like a cake?
Fry the cheese, just plain
It'll be
cheese.
more like an egg batter. What could work is not using flour at all. And then you could still make your egg batter and it's gonna be more eggy around the outside than more of a cake fluffy.
You could just use gluten-free flour, or you could use almond flour or rice flour as well.
Thank you, Sarah. Those ingredients we don't have down here. Maybe in some of the specialty stores they do. Have you seen gluten-free flour?
Jerry, have they always made their own tortillas there?
Yes.
Chili Rellenos and something else.
Tortillas?
Just,
Something else
or enchilada, I don't know what.
Yes, for whoever asked, they do make their own tortillas there, and they have always. They're known for their homemade tortillas.
Okay, thank you.
Oh, they do make.
Actually, everything here is made from scratch. The beans, the chili
I
bean,
don't know why I went to the
Rocky
restaurant in the Rocky Point area.
So Xochitl's used to be open for dinner. It hasn't in probably 2-3 years. But they do pizzas to go. Take and bake pizzas to go, but that might be changing in the future. Maybe.
People are coming back.
Okay, now our sauce is done and we're going to put a plate of the chile rellenos together so you can see what it looks like all sauced up, and we can take questions. Just do one chile. Well, I guess you could do it wrong.
How they made that.
So can these freeze like that? They do freeze. So before you, like if you want to make a lot of them up, you can actually freeze them after that stage, after you cook them in the lard and brown them a bit. They do freeze very well. You can separate them with saran wrap or even wax paper. A Ziploc bag, so one layer.
Ajá.
So one layer in a Ziploc bag and they freeze well. And then you take them out, thaw them out, and then you can just heat them up, you know, on a grill or a pan, you know, to melt the cheese on the inside.
Jerry,
Yeah.
I have a question. If we missed part of it, the very like first 10 minutes, is this going to be recorded? And can you-
Yes, all of our virtual adventures are recorded and they are on our YouTube channel. All you have to do is look up YouTube and Daring Adventures and you'll find our playlist with all of our virtual adventures.
Oh, great. Thank you.
And if you're new to Daring Adventures, check our website out. It's www.daring-adventures.org. And we do, you know, a lot of outdoor recreation for people with disabilities and facing life challenges. But since COVID-19, you know, we've have not had in-person programming. So we've been doing everything virtually. And this is actually a series that Sarah has put together where we've been actually doing these virtual adventures weekly. So this is our second time out of the country. Our first time out of the country was over in Tokyo, Japan, where we toured a Japanese garden, and that was a month and a half ago. So I would invite everybody to get on our schedule so you know when the tours are and to join in. Our next event is, I believe, November 10th, Sarah?
Yeah, it is November 10th and it's at 6 p.m. and it's going to be Central Arizona Mountain Rescue. We had to reschedule this event, but they have a nice presentation with a bunch of different equipment that they use to make mountain rescues. And they're going to talk all about it in different situations and scenarios that they've had to rescue in.
So
Delicious looking celery,
there's the chili relleno. So you can see with the Ranchero Sauce and the chili relleno.
Can you please cut it in half so we can see the
Oh, yes.
Sorry, the satisfying videos are always my favorite.
Now, is there like a mild version of that recipe?
So you can see the cheese, how it just oozes. Yummy.
Sarah, there's plenty of different chilies and there's plenty of different peppers that you can even just swap out to make them a little bit more milder.
Oh, okay. Okay.
What's that thing look like? Pretty good?
Oh, yeah. Uh-oh. Give some to the camera girl. She did a good job.
Great job.
Muy delicioso.
And with tortillas is better.
Oh, the tortilla. So we take our tortilla.
Make it burrito.
Make it burrito. Now then we'll just take a little bit.
Oh, don't rip it.
And then we'll take a little piece of our chili relleno.